You look down, and there it is, a dark stain sinking into your favorite couch. Your stomach drops, and you're already pricing a new sofa or a professional cleaning costing $200. But stop, don't reach for your wallet just yet. The fix is probably sitting in your medicine cabinet right now, in a little brown bottle that costs about $1. Hydrogen peroxide. Let's save your couch. Number 1. Erase dried blood that everyone says is permanent. Let's start with the stain people give up on the fastest, because blood has a nasty reputation for being forever. A nosebleed on the cushions, a scraped knee from the kids, a paper cut you didn't notice for an hour, and by the time you find it, it's dried to a rusty brown that no amount of soap will touch. Here's the part nobody tells you. Blood and hydrogen peroxide have a chemical grudge match, and peroxide wins almost every time. Your blood contains an enzyme called catalase, and the second peroxide touches it. That enzyme rips the peroxide apart into water and oxygen gas. That's the fizzing you see. It's not just for show either. Those tiny oxygen bubbles physically push up from deep inside the fabric fibers and lift the blood particles right out, while the peroxide simultaneously bleaches the red color-causing part of the hemoglobin, lifting and whitening at the same time. It's the closest thing to magic you'll find in a cleaning cabinet. For a fresh stain, just pour a little standard 3% hydrogen peroxide, the exact strength in that drugstore bottle, straight onto the spot. Let it foam for about a minute, then blot with a clean cloth. Watch the color climb right out of the couch and into your towel. For dried set-in blood, you need one extra step. Dampen the spot with cool water first to rehydrate that hardened protein. Wait about 10 minutes, then apply the peroxide and let it work. You may need to repeat it 2 or 3 times on an old stain, and that's normal. And here's the one rule you cannot break. Never ever use hot water on a blood stain. Heat cooks the protein and locks it into the fibers permanently, and at that point even peroxide can't save you. Cold water only. Follow that, and a stain you were ready to throw a slipcover over just disappears. Think about what the alternative cost you. A professional upholstery cleaner can run well over $100 for a single couch, and even the fancy oxygen stain pre-treaters at the store are $8 to $14 a bottle. Peroxide is the same core chemistry doing the same job for about $1. And once you've seen it work on your couch, you'll realize it does the identical trick on a blood-stained mattress, a car seat, or the carpet, anywhere that permanent red mark has been mocking you. Number 2, kill old pet stains and the smell that keeps coming back. If you've got a dog or a cat, you know this one. You clean up an accident, the spot looks fine, but a week later the smell is back, and worse, your pet keeps returning to that exact same spot to go again. It feels like the stain is haunting you. There's a real reason for that, and peroxide fixes both halves of the problem. Pet urine dries into microscopic crystals, and those crystals are the source of that sharp, lingering ammonia smell. Regular cleaners just mask it. Your dog or cat can still smell those crystals long after your nose gives up, and that scent is basically a signpost telling them, "Bathroom's right here." To truly win, you have to break the crystals down and kill the bacteria feeding the odor. That's exactly what peroxide does. Here's the recipe that outperforms the $15 enzyme sprays at the pet store for pennies. First, blot up as much moisture as you can with paper towels, really press down, even stand on them. Then sprinkle the area generously with plain baking soda. In a bowl or spray bottle, mix about half a cup of 3% hydrogen peroxide with a teaspoon of dish soap, and pour or spray that right over the baking soda. Let that combination sit and do its thing for a solid hour. Don't rush it. That dwell time is what lets the peroxide actually reach down and dismantle the crystals instead of just wetting the surface. The peroxide breaks down the urine and disinfects, the dish soap cuts the greasy residue, and the baking soda pulls out the odor as it dries. Once it's completely dry, vacuum up the leftover powder. If it's a really old, stubborn spot, don't be discouraged if you need a second round. Deep accidents can soak far into the cushion foam, and a repeat treatment finishes the job. And here's the money part. Those enzymatic pet stain sprays at the store, the ones with the long scientific labels bragging about breaking down odor on a molecular level. You just made your own version out of 3 things you already own for a tiny fraction of the price. Same result, pennies on the dollar. The best part? When that scent marker is truly gone, your pet loses the invitation to return. You're not just cleaning a stain, you're breaking a habit. Just remember to test it on a hidden spot first, because on a dark couch, peroxide can lighten the color. Number 3, rescue a light-colored couch from red wine. Picture the scene. You're hosting, someone's telling a great story with their hands, and a full glass of Cabernet goes airborne right onto your cream-colored sofa. The whole room goes silent. In that moment, everyone assumes the couch is done for. It isn't. Red wine is such a brutal stain because it comes at your fabric 2 ways at once. It's got tannins, the same plant compounds that stain your teeth, and it's got anthocyanins, the deep purple-red pigments. Both of them bind fast and bind hard. But hydrogen peroxide is an oxidizer, which means it attacks the actual chemical bonds that give the stain its color, breaking them apart until there's nothing left to see. If the spill is fresh, blot up everything you can. Don't rub, just press and lift, and then sprinkle a little table salt on it to soak up more of the liquid while you grab your supplies. Then apply your 3% peroxide directly and let it fizz for about 5 to 10 minutes. For a dried wine stain that's been sitting a while, mix 1 part dish soap with 2 parts peroxide. That surfactant helps the peroxide sink into the dried residue instead of just sitting on top. Dab it on, give it a few minutes, then blot it away with a damp cloth. The reason this feels so miraculous is that most people reach for exactly the wrong things in the moment. They pour on club soda, scrub with a wet rag, or dump salt and hope. And while blotting fast does help, none of that actually destroys the pigment. It just dilutes and spreads it into a bigger pink cloud. Peroxide is different because it chemically dismantles the color instead of moving it around. This trick is genuinely at its best on white and light fabrics, and that's important to know. On bold or dark upholstery, peroxide's bleaching power can lift your couch's own color right along with the wine, so a hidden spot test is non-negotiable here. But on that panicked, light-colored disaster, you'll look like a magician, and the whole fix costs less than the glass of wine did. Number 4, lift coffee and tea rings with a surprising iron trick. Look at the armrest of the couch where you always set your mug down. See that faint brown halo? Or those mystery rings on the cushion where a cup got left overnight? Coffee and tea leave behind tannin stains, plant-based compounds that grab onto fabric and turn it a dingy yellow-brown that just makes the whole couch look tired and old. You can absolutely dab peroxide straight onto these and blot, and for lighter stains, that works fine. But here's the trick almost nobody knows, and it feels a little wild the first time you do it. You're going to use an iron. Spray a little 3% hydrogen peroxide directly onto the coffee or tea stain. Then take a clean white cotton cloth. A plain dish towel is perfect. Dampen it and lay it flat over the stain. Now run a hot iron over that cloth for about 20 to 30 seconds. As the heat drives the peroxide into the tannins, the loosened stain lifts up out of the couch and transfers straight into the white cloth. You'll literally lift the towel and see the brown mark sitting on it instead of your sofa. Finish by rinsing the spot with a damp sponge and blotting it dry. A couple of pointers to get it right. Keep the cloth damp, not soaking, and lift the iron every 10 seconds or so to check your progress and reposition to a clean section of the towel. You want fresh fabric ready to absorb each round of loosened stain. And go easy on the heat setting with delicate or synthetic upholstery. You're transferring the stain, not pressing a shirt. One critical warning though, and it ties back to trick number 1. This heat trick is only for tannin stains like coffee and tea. Never use heat on anything with blood, egg, milk, or other proteins in it, because heat sets those permanently. But for that sad brown mug ring on your armrest, the iron trick clears it out fast and makes the fabric look years younger. No expensive cleaner required. Number 5. Whiten the yellow head halo. you didn't know was there. This is the one that surprises people the most because you've probably stopped even seeing it. Look at the top of your couch cushions, the headrest area, and the armrests. On a light couch, there's often a dull yellowish shadow in exactly the spots where people rest their heads, necks, and arms. Most folks assume that's just the fabric aging. It's not. That's body oil and sweat. Every time someone leans back and relaxes, they leave behind a little skin oil and perspiration, and over months and years it builds up and oxidizes into that yellow, greasy-looking discoloration. It's the same reason white pillowcases and shirt collars go yellow. And because it builds so gradually, you genuinely forget your couch used to be brighter. Peroxide brings it right back. Mix up a simple paste using equal parts hydrogen peroxide, baking soda, and water. So 1 part of each, a couple tablespoons each, is plenty for a cushion. The peroxide oxidizes and breaks down that yellow, greasy-looking sweat and oil residue, while the baking soda gives you a gentle scrubbing grit that works it loose without being harsh on the fibers. Spread the paste over the yellowed area. Let it sit for a good 30 minutes to an hour so the peroxide has time to work. Then scrub gently with a soft brush and blot it clean with a damp cloth. Let it dry fully. Here's a tip that'll make the result look even. Don't just treat the one obvious yellow patch and stop. Because the discoloration built up so slowly across the whole headrest, spot cleaning a single area can leave you with a bright, clean patch surrounded by dingy fabric, which somehow looks worse. Work the whole cushion top or the entire armrest as one zone so the color stays uniform. When you compare it to an untreated cushion afterward, the difference can be genuinely shocking. That's how much invisible grime was sitting there. It's the cheapest way to make a tired old couch look like you just brought it home from the store. Number 6. Kill mold and mildew, not just cover the smell. This one's about more than looks, it's about your health. If your couch lives in a basement, a humid room, or anywhere it's soaked up moisture, mold and mildew can move in. Fabric is porous, so it drinks up humidity and becomes the perfect home for spores. The first sign is usually a funky, musty smell, and then you start seeing splotches, black, green, gray, or white, creeping across the surface. That's not a stain you want to just paint over with air freshener, because mold exposure is linked to asthma flare-ups, allergies, and worse. Here's why peroxide is the hero over bleach for this job. Regular chlorine bleach can leave harsh fumes and toxic residue, and it can wreck colored fabric. Hydrogen peroxide is actually an EPA-registered sanitizer, proven to knock out germs like staph, salmonella, and viruses, and when it's done working, it breaks down into nothing but water and oxygen. No lingering chemical smell, no toxic film on the thing you sit on every day. To use it, pour undiluted 3% peroxide into a spray bottle and saturate the moldy area completely. Let it sit for around 10 minutes or until you see the bubbling stop. That fizzing is the peroxide actively killing the fungus and breaking down the dark stains. Then scrub the spot with a microfiber cloth to lift out the spores and wipe away the residue with a second cloth and clean water. Now the most important finishing step, and it's the one people skip. Dry it out thoroughly. Mold is a living thing, and it only came back because the fabric stayed damp. So open windows, aim a fan at it, and if you possibly can, drag that couch into direct sunlight for a few hours. Sunlight and airflow kill off any survivors, and, more importantly, remove the moisture the mold needs to return. If the room itself is the problem, running a dehumidifier is the long-term fix that keeps your couch and everything else in there mold-free. Compare that to a scented spray that just perfumes over the problem while the fungus keeps quietly growing underneath. You've actually killed it, removed the stain, and made the air in that room safer to breathe, all with a dollar bottle from the medicine cabinet. Number 7. Fade ballpoint ink and marker disasters. Every parent knows this special kind of heartbreak. You turn your back for 2 minutes, and your toddler has decorated the couch cushion with a ballpoint pen or worse, a marker. Ink feels like the ultimate well. that's ruined forever stain. And to be honest, ink is the toughest customer on this whole list. But peroxide still gives you a real fighting chance, and it's absolutely worth trying before you flip the cushion over and pretend it never happened. Peroxide works on ink through the same oxidizing action as everything else. It goes after the dyes and pigments and breaks down the bonds that make the color visible, fading that harsh blue or black line down until it disappears or lightens enough to vanish into the fabric. Start by dabbing a small amount of 3% peroxide onto the ink with a cotton swab or the corner of a white cloth. For stubborn ballpoint, mix the peroxide with a drop of dish soap to help it grab the greasy ink base. Now here's the technique that matters most. Don't scrub. Ink spreads with the slightest provocation, and rubbing will smear one little line into a giant blue cloud. So press gently, lift, and reapply to a clean part of the cloth each time so you're always pulling ink out, never pushing it around. Be patient and repeat. You'll watch it fade with each pass. Ink won't always come out 100%, especially permanent marker, but peroxide gets you further than you'd ever expect, and on ballpoint, it often clears it completely. When you're staring at a cushion you thought was destroyed, often completely for the price of pennies, is a very good deal. The golden rules. Read these before you touch your couch. Before you go stain hunting around the house, a few quick rules will keep you from turning a small problem into a big one. First, always patch test. Peroxide is a bleach, and its whole job is breaking down color, including your couch's color. Dab a little on a hidden spot, like the back or under a cushion, wait a few minutes, and make sure the fabric doesn't lighten before you go anywhere near the visible areas. This matters most on dark and boldly colored fabrics. Second, stick to the standard 3% strength from the drugstore. The stronger stuff sold for hair or industrial use can bleach and even damage fabric fast. If you're nervous about a delicate material, you can cut your 3% with an equal part of water to make it gentler. Third, don't scrub and don't soak. Rubbing pushes stains deeper and spreads them wider, and drenching a cushion can leave you with water rings, or ironically, new mildew inside the foam. Work from the outside of the stain inward and dry the area out with a fan or sunlight when you're done. And the big one, never mix hydrogen peroxide with vinegar or with bleach. Peroxide and vinegar together create peracetic acid, which is harsh and can irritate your skin, eyes, and lungs. Use these products on their own. Also, keep peroxide in its dark brown bottle away from light because sunlight breaks it down and weakens it over time. Follow those rules, and this one cheap bottle handles blood, pet stains, wine, coffee, sweat, mold, and ink, the same active ingredient inside those $8 to $14 stain sprays for about $1. So before you ever spend a fortune on a new couch or a pricey cleaning service, reach for that little brown bottle first. Which of these stains has been driving you crazy? Drop it in the comments and let us know. Thanks for watching. If this saved your couch or your wallet, smash that like button and share it with a friend who needs it. And hit subscribe with notifications on so you never miss a trick.